Hello everyone and welcome. We are going to be doing Trader Talk number 8. So just to introduce myself to you, my name is Morgan and I'm the head of trading at MSC Academy. I've been trading for over a decade now, and I've also been teaching students in over 30 countries around the world about how to trade and invest in the financial markets. So for the topic of today's video, we're going to be focusing predominantly on the swing trades that I have on my portfolio currently and taking a look at the update, the progress, and then also follow on. So even if a trade is in progress, there's always opportunity for additional trades or to change the trade idea. And through sharing this content with you, it will give you the opportunity to learn as well about how you can monitor your trades if you've taken these trades as well. And also, most importantly, to be able to learn how to adapt and learn from it so that you can go forward and find trades for yourself and be able to embrace those opportunities as new trades that are hopefully profitable. So we've got 3 trades that we're going to be focusing on today. These 3 trades are all on Forex pairs, and for these trade ideas, I'm looking forward to seeing where the progress goes for the next couple of weeks. So on the last couple trader talks, I've shared these trade ideas already. Most of these trade ideas, one of these trade ideas has been very successful. The other 2 trade ideas are kind of bouncing around, not quite making much progress yet. So we're going to share those trade ideas, but those are the much younger trade ideas. So to start out with, the trade idea that I shared, I think it was in Trader Talk number 6. Let me take a look here. Trader Talk number 5. I spoke of the Euro CHF long idea. So just to give you an update on that, we were discussing the opportunity for getting into this trade idea because of the market spiking down beyond the fair value area. So fair value area being where most of the price has been moving historically. And as you can see over here, if we take a look in the daily charts, you can see that most of the price action is sitting within this range over here, with the range price spiking down to these areas only a couple of times. So you can see once, twice, 3 times, and then the 4th time has been more recently. So that's what I was watching very carefully to see if price was going to move beyond this fair value area and then pierce back into it. And that has been a successful trade for us so far. So these blue squares are just showing some of the entries that I've taken already. So I was able to get in on this trade quite low down, close towards that historic support area. I added 1 trade over here, which I closed out. I was worried that the market was going to break this trend line and go against me. And that was unfortunate because the market pivoted and continued moving higher. So I added an additional position over here. So as you can see, what has been established is a bullish trend. So this bullish trend has continued moving higher. And as you can see, we have re-entered that fair value area. So if the fair value area is roughly inside of this zone, so if I were to just change the color of this to a red horizontal line, that gives you an indication of where the fair value area is. You can see that the fair value area has been obeyed historically for quite a long period of time, and now price has moved beyond that, into that zone and beyond it now. But what we can see if we go down into the hourly charts, on Monday we had a very strong push, followed by most of the week being spent trading flat. So if we just go on to the daily time frame, you can see Monday there was a very strong bullish candle, and then the last 4 days have basically been trading completely flat. So there's been very, very little progress on this trade since then. Now, these are the targets that I've got. I've set 3 targets for all 3 of my trades that I have left. So the first trade is basically re-entering the upper limit of the support level for this fair value area. For the second is to reach the next fair value area, which would be the historic resistance level of this previous swing high. And then my third target, which would be the trade that I took at the lowest point, is basically to see if we can hold this position all the way to the upside. Now, the great part about this position is that there is a positive swap rate on a buy for Euro CHF, which means I can hold this position for a continuously long period of time and I'm still earning a positive swap. So it's not costing me anything to hold this position. And given that we've re-entered that fair value area, I'm able to set my stop somewhere around about here, knowing that if the market does pivot against me, I'm going to be out of that position in a little bit of profit, but most of my profit is coming from the positive swap rate that I'm holding. So target 1, 2, 3, basically we've come very close to target 1. I was going to exit one of my positions over there, and I felt like with the market trading very flat here, we could be seeing a breakout to the upside. So I really want to try and see if we can pierce this level of this trend line so that I can exit the position on time and not early. That is definitely something that a lot of traders struggle with, myself included, is exiting positions too early. So when I have positions where I'm in a good amount of profit, I try my best to focus on the system of exiting where I said I was going to exit rather than exiting early. Then in terms of going a bit deeper into this trade, I want to be able to show you what I mean by the market trading really flat. So you can see that the market has entered beyond this fair value area and it's just kind of begun to trade, creating higher lows and now creating lower highs. So this is something that I've been watching very carefully, is seeing that we had a failed breakout over here. So let's just go down to the, so we had the market basically break out to this point and trade right back down into that fair value area. So I've been watching very closely to see if the market is going to pull back to this support area. That support area is basically where my breakdown zone is. So that is the 0.9289 zone. Now, in terms of this zone, the 9289 zone is also this bullish trend that has been formed. And my concern with this position is that if this bullish trend gets broken, we could see that price has rejected this new fair value area. So this is quite an important inflection point for this trade, is if the current price doesn't want to be trading inside of the fair value area, you're going to see the market moving lower, and it's possibly going to pierce back below this horizontal level, and it's going to continue moving lower. So that's why this 0.9289 level is basically my breakdown level, meaning if we break down below this level, not only will the trend line be broken, but this horizontal support line, which most of the price is traded above for this week, would be broken down as well. And that's basically when I'd get out of all 3 of my positions. Now, I'm still considering whether I'm going to get out of 3 of the positions or just 2 and maybe hold 1 of the positions for a short period of time and see if the market wants to trade back into that fair value area. It's considerable to mention that if there is a lot of market movement inside this fair value area, it is possible that at some point we are going to see price moving back up to this point. So if our entries are in the profit, it would be better for us to probably hold that position for a longer period of time than to just get out because we have profit. It's always nice to get out of a position when you're in profit, but at the end of the day, you also have to be able to rather stagger your positions, take a few of them in profit and leave one of them thinking perhaps this market could move considerably higher. That's where you're going to maximize a lot more of your profits at the end of the day. It doesn't always happen, but when you are trading outside of the fair value area and you can see price moving back into that fair value area, it's a very common experience to see that happen, where price will move to target 3, which is right up over here. So that is something that I'm focusing carefully, is that if that 0.9289 level is broken over here, this trend line and horizontal support line, then I'm going to have to consider getting out of this position. What I am watching, however, is if this market does come back down to this level and bounce off of this level, then that means I can hold my position for a longer period of time. And if I see a strong bounce followed by a bullish engulfing candle that engulfs whatever test hit this level, if we have a very strong test followed by high velocity movement, then I might add to the position for more of an intraday trade, or a trade that I can take within the week and exit within the week. So that is also something I haven't spoken to as well over here, is I've not only taken these 3 positions at the bottom, but I've also traded smaller positions intraday and intra-week throughout this this movement, because I've been watching the movement. So that is the Euro CHF trade idea wrapped up. The progress of it is great. It's also great to have a profitable trade on the portfolio. Now, one of the trades that I shared in Trader Talk number 6 was the Euro USD sell. Now, first thing Monday, I basically got in on that position. I entered a sell order at 1.1538. So that was first thing Monday morning. It was around 8 o'clock. And I was watching the support level getting tested. As you can see, there was a very strong candle that broke this level. As you can see over here, the wick tested this level. The next candle opened bearish. Below that level, we had a bullish candle test the same level, followed by two bearish engulfing candles selling off right down into this range here. The market slowly moved higher and tested this zone, and I felt like, because of the much smaller candles showing very slow bullish price movement, it was a good opportunity to get in on a sell. So I sold into that position first thing Monday morning, and the market started to move back down. I saw that the market was forming somewhat of a bearish trend, and this trend didn't seem to hold. And the one thing that I noticed very carefully was that it took one day. So this was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we traded flat and then closed up bullish. This made me a little bit concerned, is seeing if inside of this bearish price range that we can see here, if the market felt like this test was sufficient, which I felt like it wasn't, the market was going to start moving bullish. So I was very careful to watch on Thursday, to see what the market was going to be doing. And what I noticed was that we had a very strong push on Wednesday. Basically, the market opened when about, was it? Yeah, here we go, over here. The market traded flat, followed by a very strong breakout and a retest. And I knew that this retest, if I were to go down into the 15-minute time frame, you can see that there was very flat trading over here, followed by a breakout and a retest. Now, often with these retest levels, you can see that the market traded all the way up to here, huge bullish engulfing candle, followed by this retest. Often on the retest, you're going to see another bullish move. So I decided to get out of my position in a small amount of profit, knowing that we are probably going to be moving back up to the resistance of this bearish range. So once I noticed that that bearish range was going to be tested, I waited to see if we could get back up into this zone over here. Unfortunately, with the market that we saw, we didn't see that bullish movement all the way up into this price range over here. So you can see that historically we've had a test of this bearish price range over here. So you can see continuously the market has tested these levels and has retraced from those levels. So I was watching very carefully to see if the market was going to test this level again, and unfortunately it didn't. So I am still waiting to see if the market is going to test these levels in this red zone over here. And I would like to get in with an additional buy position because I feel like there could be more movement to this market on the upside before we see the market breaking back down again. So I'm still watching to see if we can get back into this red zone for adding another sell position. If we can get back into that red zone, I'm going to sell that pair and hold it back to the downside. In terms of a trajectory, I'm watching that this range could be tested once again on the buy side. So if we get up into this zone for a sell order, I'm going to sell into that position and hold this trade all the way down to this level over here. So initially our target for this trade I think was 1.11. So 1.14 is still far from our target, but that means we could see that market moving down to this level, and then I'll be able to decide what I want to do going forward. So with this trade, I'm going to be adding at least 2 sell orders in this red zone over here for euro dollar. And then I'm going to be waiting for that market to move to the downside, and then I can decide whether I want to get out of one of the positions or both of the positions. I feel like getting out of one position and holding the next one to see if we have more bearish movement could be great. Historically, however, you can see that there's a strong support zone over here that was established back in August. So I'm watching this support zone very carefully because I feel like we could see a bounce off of this level, and this could be a pretty strong zone for the market to move beyond. Then going out into the daily chart, if you were to go take a look at the previous video, so that was live trader talk number 6, yeah, the Euro USD, that's going to give you a bigger overview of what this trade idea entailed and why I was looking into sell to the downside. But basically this is going to be our target 1 zone. So if I'm able to add a rectangle in here, target 1 is here and target 2 is around about down here. So I'm still waiting to see if the market is going to move all the way to the downside, and that's why I want to take at least 2 sell orders on this trade, because I feel like we are seeing this market beginning to break down from its historic highs, and you can see here that we have a mostly bearish movement continuing to the downside. So I feel like price selling all the way back to the 1.12 or even the 1.1 level down around about over here could be highly probable. As you can see over here, this is a very big resistance zone. Here's a very strong support zone. So I feel like this could be target 2 and this level up here could be target 1. Now moving into the last trade idea, that's going to be USD JPY. So for USD JPY, I've had a very tough time working on this trade. So I had posted out for USD JPY, I believe it may have been both Trader Talk number 5 and number 6. I spoke about USD JPY short. Sorry, a long position. So basically what I was looking for is this market was testing these levels. It had tested both of these levels historically as a resistance. So I was watching these 2 levels very carefully and expecting that with this bullish trend forming over here, we were going to have the market test this level and start moving higher, and that's exactly what we had. So for getting in on my 2 buy orders, I was able to hold out for the market spiking down to the downside here, and I managed to get in on 2 buy orders. And now one of the complexities was in my previous trader talk is I felt like this resistance level was not going to be broken quite yet. I felt like we were going to have the market move back to these historic resistance levels and test it as a new support, and that's exactly what happened. So the market basically spiked down, moved higher again, and then I saw the market beginning to break down on these hourly candles over here. So if I were to dissect this into a smaller time frame, when I start to see, let me just make this a little bit smaller. When I start to see the market rounding like this and very flat candles forming, that is after a long run, a long bullish run, you have a sell-off and then followed by this. That's very commonly seen that you're going to see the market continuing to sell off, and that's what we saw. So I got out of, I didn't get out of my position. I added a sell position. So I took a sell in this area on this bearish engulfing candle, and we saw the market moving all the way off to the downside. So once I was able to see that the market was moving down to this historic resistance level, I thought that we were not going to see it get broken, and that's exactly what happened. So given that this trade idea was focused predominantly on watching this historic resistance level be broken, now that it's been broken to the downside again, it has somewhat invalidated my trade idea. So with this trend line also being broken over here, that is showing that not only is the support zone invalidated, but the trend line has been invalidated as well. So I can't continue to use this trend line and say to myself that the price is going to continue moving higher. So basically, to get out of these positions, I've got two buy positions over here and one sell position here. So all three of these positions are floating in profit, but now I need to decide where I'm going to go. So what I've commonly seen is when a trend line does get broken, you will usually see that trend get retested. So if I see this market moving to the upside with my sell position over here, I'm basically going to cut my sell position at entry if I see that, and with my buy positions, I'm going to let this position hold floating in profit or loss, and I'm going to set a hard stop at the top of this red zone over here. So if we see the market moving higher to test these levels, I'm going to close the sell position, and if we see the market moving lower, I'm going to close the buy position, knowing that I'll have the other position open to hold. So I believe, depending on this range, if we see the market moving higher, we could see the market break this zone once again and continuing to move to these historic zones over here that I discussed in that previous talk. So I'm effectively waiting for the market to move to somewhere inside of these zones, with these two green rectangles being my target area. If I see that the market breaks down to this lower level over here, that basically invalidates my thought that this market is going to stay bullish, and we could see this market retrace back down to this zone over here or to these lower zones, in which case I'll have one sell position open, two buy orders closed, and I'll be able to hold that position to the downside. This trade was specifically taken because of the opportunity to hold a positive swap on a buy order. Now that I'm on a negative swap on a sell order, I have to be careful about how long I can hold this trade for. So I have to be more considerate to the time it takes for me to gain the profit that I want to hold this position. And if I see that the market is not bearish enough with enough movement and momentum to the downside, then I'm going to be exiting this position regardless of how much or how little profits I'm in. That's of course if we're holding to the sell side. If we're holding to the buy side, I will still be able to hold this position continuously. But because of this support zone being quite a big part of my trade idea, if this support zone does not get respected and this upper resistance level does not get broken, then I have to be very careful about holding this trade, because what I could see is that the market might move inside of this zone. So those are the three trade ideas that I've been focusing on. Those are the three swing trades that I've spent most of my time and energy on in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to be able to see what the market brings next week. I think next week is going to be quite pivotal. And I'm looking forward to also tomorrow's trader talk, because I'm going to be sharing a couple more live trade ideas. So Friday, I did a trader talk focusing on the market movement and my intraday trading. Saturdays, I'm going to be focusing on the swing trade updates. And then Sundays, we're going to be focusing on new trade ideas. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to watch this video. I appreciate the support, and I'll make sure to see you in the next one. Cheers for now.